All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So today I wanted to do an update on one of my older videos, 10 things to do in Black Desert. So the last time I made a video was probably like a little less than a year ago, and obviously time changes and the goals you go for are a little bit different. So I made a little bit of a list of things I would recommend newer players and just things you should start learning early on into the game right now. So I think this might be a little bit more obvious to veteran players and people who've been playing the game for a little bit now, but if you're thinking about starting out and you're like lost in the game, here are some goals and stuff that I would recommend for all of you to do to catch up to everyone else and so on. So I made a list. It's not in any particular order. You should probably do them all eventually, but number one, when it comes to BDO, you're going to probably want to find a guild. And I understand that a lot of people play games mostly solo in general. And so you're probably wondering, why do I have to join a guild? There's a lot of benefits of being in a guild. Like there's guild buffs. One, the social interaction. That's probably the main important thing. But you do actually get rewarded for being in the guild with guild buffs and everything. Passive stats and whatnot. So just being in one, even if you don't socialize a lot, is always good. But it is pretty good just to, you know, do things like group events or guild bosses and stuff with people. That's exciting stuff. Like, it's an MMO overall, you know, multiplayer. You should probably at least talk to someone. And yeah, there's a lot of guilds in this game. So, I mean, no matter what you enjoy doing, whether it's PvE, PvP, life skill, role playing, there's probably a guild for you. Just search it up on the guild finder and then you're good to go. The second thing I would recommend for newer players, even veteran players, honestly, myself included, is play through the new season every time they give you a new season token when you create a character. And the reason why is there's actually a benefit of having multiple characters in this game. And that's another topic that we'll talk about later in this video. But every time you start a new season character, it's kind of like going through it again, but the knowledge you have going in every time and the stats, like the AP adventure journals, DP, and your extra, like every other stat you have, it carries over. So it goes faster every time and you just pick up on newer things. So yeah, going through the season every time, it may sound tedious, but it's actually not that bad. And for like veteran players like myself, you can do it in like 1 or 2 days. And then, I mean, if you're a new player, obviously you should be doing it to catch up. That's a huge thing. But overall, the rewards are pretty good, and you should probably do that as well. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was setting boss alts, and the reason why it's important to have multiple characters, kind of like what we talked about just a second ago of playing season characters. So every time you make a new season character, right, you get a new character. One, you get to try out all the new character, or like all 28 or so classes in the game and more. And believe it or not, having a main is what most people have. It's pretty standard. But also, there's a reason to have all the other characters, even if you don't play them, because you could put them on like different boss alts around the world. And that's super helpful because there's all the world bosses are, you know, everywhere around the map. So just putting a character on the boss and not having to go there on your main every time is a huge thing. And I remember when I first started this game, I was like, oh, I'm just going to play one character and do everything on that. And that was basically BDO for the first, I would say, 3 years for me. And then I realized I'm getting lazy and I just want to put characters there and just swap. It takes 2 seconds instead of like 5 minutes to get to there. So yeah, aside from that, there's also more benefits of having other characters as well. Aside from, you know, just trying out everything, the fun factor of it is every character has energy, right? So like right here, you see my energy is 243 out of 617. Now, every character regens energy, which basically energy is silver in this game in one way or the other. Whether you gather, just turn it into something and then sell it, it's energy equals silver, essentially. So every character gathers or regens energy, which you can turn into silver, so having more characters be energy batteries is always helpful. And they also carry fail stacks or enhancement chances. If you've heard of this, you know that there's a lot of RNG enhancing in this game. You don't need to do it. You can just buy everything. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, they also hold your fail stacks. And if I showed you how it works right now, when you enhance, there are these things over here called Nadar's bands. I think you get like 2 or 3 by just for free playing the game, and you buy the rest. But essentially, your other characters hold these, and it's free, whereas these are like the paid ones. And so I was always, back in the day, I was like, why would you buy that when you could just store it on another character? It's convenience, but like if you are not spending, that's another use for it as well. And so yeah, just overall having more characters is just a time saver. And you know, even if you don't play them, it's good to have energy. And one tip that I could give to you guys is, you see how my cap is 617 for energy right now, right? There's a crystal set. Let me show you these things. Magic Crystal of Infinity Energy. It gives you plus 10 energy. When you apply it, you see how it went from 617 to 637. Now, if you put that crystal preset on all your other characters, even if you don't play them, their cap will be 637. So, like, if you're not playing it, you just get plus 20 energy. Is it a big deal? Not really. If you're managing it well enough, then it's not. But it's just good to know, kind of thing. But if you are playing it, just make sure to swap back and forth to whatever you're doing. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is setting up nodes and your workers. Now, this is something, when I first started the game, it was kind of, you know, confusing. I didn't know all this. So if you see all this right here, let me make this easier for you guys to see instead of like, holy, that's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to try to explain this very quickly. These things are nodes, right? And this is your town. You can connect nodes from the town and essentially put workers on that. You see these like the green bar? That means you put a worker on it, and that's the timer, and they will bring back materials to the town they are connected to. Nowadays, from the worker thing, you can send it to any town, which is actually a nice quality of life. But back in the day, it worked on worker from town, sends it to the town it's like from. But nowadays, that's less relevant. But either way, yeah, passive, just by having your game on, whether you're AFK or actively playing, you'll have workers from all around the world just bring materials to your storages. And that's just an overall way to get, crafting materials through time, and essentially silver, whether you sell it or use it, which is always nice. So yeah, make sure to set up your workers. The way it works is you have points right here called contribution points. You get them by either questing, you could get byproducts from life skilling, and you turn it into an NPC, and then you just get the points. So contribution points, essentially, like, it's not necessarily 1-to-1, but like, let's say I took this one. Red means it's connected, by the way, and gray means it's not. So if I look at it over here, it says invest contribution points, and then this is 1. So if I use 1 point, you can connect that node. Now, I have a video on my entire map connection, and I explained which ones are important and whatnot. But generally, you want to get the materials that you think you'll use, whether you're like crafting something for yourself, life skilling and all that stuff. So not everything is 1 contribution. Some are like 3, 2, 5. But either way, overall, you'll eventually learn like what nodes give what. And I know it looks overwhelming now, but just by the years of playing or something, you'll pick up on it. And I'll leave a link in the description to my video. So if you just want to see the ones that I think are worth a lot, like which nodes that give like high value materials, I'll leave a link in the description to that one. But with that said, that's TLDR. Start setting up your node worker empire early on, just because it's passive money. The next thing I would recommend most people to start learning early on is the central market. Now, every online game, MMO, has some sort of market board system. In BDO, it's called the Central Market. You could almost buy everything here, and whether it's like gear, potions and whatnot, like everything, materials that your workers collected. So yeah, start learning the trends and stuff. So for example, if I were to take one of the endgame items right now and look at a piece, and you could look at the 1 month and 3 month trend of like how much things are valued at. And if you know how to watch the market, it's kind of like stocks in real life, kind of essentially. You could know that this game is event driven. So basically, whenever there's a drop rate event, accessory prices tend to go down. Whenever there's a life skill event, you know, enhancing materials generally go down. And so just by knowing the market and knowing what kind of events are going on, you could kind of predict what items will go up and down in price, and you could profit from that. So it's a lot more complicated than that, but I think for the most part, like, learning the central market is pretty nice, actually. And you know, especially if there's an item you want and like you're just trying to get it for yourself, not even profit, just for like gear upgrades. Yeah, sometimes you could look at it and be like, oh, I'll buy this next week and I'll save X amount of silver. So yeah, learning the central market. We have a series on the channel that we do once a month. It's called Window Shopping, and we look at all of the hot and relevant items that are, you know, something that people will look at eventually in their BDO career, whether it's gear and everything. So we talk about this monthly, and I tell you what things are worth, like buying, selling, enhancing for profit, and whether you should hold off and buy it. So yeah, once again, I'll leave a link in the description to that as well. It'll be a playlist, and you can watch like every month we talk about the latest trends. The next thing I would recommend is learning how to do farming and getting a tier 9, tier 10 horse. Now, I think right now is probably the best time to start doing it, simply because the materials to get like a tier 9 and tier 10 horse are at like an all-time low. So, as we all know, your horse is probably your number one means of transportation in this game. There's the Magnus well, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And so basically, you'll be riding your horse your entire time. And horses go from basically tier 1 to tier 10. Tier 10 being the highest. I think they actually got rid of it, so it's like tier 5 is the minimum now, and then all the way up to tier 10. But as the game progresses, the amount of horses that are relevant are less important, so most people are just going tier 9s and tier 10s these days because they give extra stuff. So farming is one of those things you do basically every day, and like you set up your farms in an area. You could look at the territory. Wait, not that one. Ground. It's like temperature and humidity. It's all this stuff that most people will never look at. But I don't even think this works, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that are actually really neat, but some of them I don't even know if they work in general. So, like, where you do your life skilling and where you do your like planting your crops, all this actually does matter in a sense. Does it really matter a lot? No, but if you're trying to min-max, yes. So basically, when you farm, you get byproducts, and the byproducts you get are basically these leaves, and you could turn all these into contribution points, which all life skills have some sort of byproduct that you turn in for contribution points. We talked about that earlier for how contribution works. And then this thing, you can also get tier 9 horse materials, and you can also buy them off the market as well, as under the mount tab and then your courser training. So all these materials and stuff, you'll learn to use them. Also do your dice roll every day. That's nice. But anyway, yeah, so your number one means for transportation essentially is going to be a horse. The higher tier your horse, the better, the more skills it has. So you're going to try to want to get a decent one faster than holding off later. It just saves time. And I also do have a video. It's it's kind of, the video itself is old, but the horse system hasn't changed in years. So like even if the video is like 2 years old, the information is still relevant to this day. So basically, get a new one. We talk about the different kinds of horse gear, how to go faster, how to level up your horse faster, essentially. Just extra tips and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of means to getting a new horse, but it's something that you kind of want to think about early on now instead of later, because it's just having a good one is better. And the next thing I want to talk about are things you should start doing pretty regularly, dailies. And these will help you whether you think you need it now or not. These are materials that I consider important. So the first thing we want to talk about is Imperial Delivery. And this one is over here. So there's a vendor in every major town. So I'm just using it in Heidel because I'm here. But essentially, Imperial Delivery is like you turn those materials you got from your workers, or you make it yourself, into cooking boxes, alchemy. Cooking is more profitable than alchemy for boxes, so just do that one, and it's easier to level up. So you see all these from apprentice to guru. What do you look at? So what you look at is your cooking, or like whatever you're doing, and you know how it goes from beginner all the way to guru. Do the highest box you can do, and essentially the way it works is you see this number over here, out of number. It's your contribution points divided by 2. And that's how many boxes you can turn in daily. So this is tax-free profit. In a way, like the material cost is still a thing, but like it turns it into silver. Like they take the boxes, give you straight silver, non-taxed, and you just get like a little bit of change in 5 to 10 minutes every day. For me, to make 220 Imperial Guru boxes is about 100 something million silver in terms of material cost, and then I make around like 260 something million after turn-in. So like after material cost value, it's like 100, 130, 50, depending on the price of the markets and stuff. So yeah, it's basically 5 minutes, get a free like 100 to 150 mil. It's pretty nice actually. So yeah, it's something to do every day. And cooking is the fastest thing you can level, and it's AFK. So don't worry about that too much. If you're worrying like, oh, how long does it take to get guru? You could do it in like a day or a few days. It's not that bad actually. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Pit of the Undying. Now, this is something that I thought was actually really interesting. So Pit of the Undying, you could search for it over here. Just search like Pit of the Undying, and it's this, right? So essentially it sends you into a new area and you fight like 5 bosses every day. It's about a 10-minute activity. Maybe 15 if you get unlucky with certain bosses on the cycle. It cycles through 5 bosses every day, and some of them are more tedious than others, but ultimately it's a very small fraction of your time played. And what it does is it gives you materials called Seal of the Undying. And you could turn these materials into a lot of things. The only ones worth doing is straight up the Cronstones. And you may not need Cronstones now, but at the end game, trust me when I say you will. And that's basically what you play the game for. It's Cronstones and upgrades. So either way, that is something worth doing every day. And the higher level you do, it goes from basically Pry to Pen, difficulty 1 to 5 essentially. And what you get is, let me show you these things. So like Undying Crow's Insignia from Pry, Duo, Try, Tet, and Pen. And it does give you some extra combat XP plus whatever percent tier you're doing, Pen being the highest. Is that relevant? No, because combat XP, when you see like combat XP plus 30%, that is additive, not multiplicative. So let's say you have 100% by default and you're using a 200% combat XP scroll. That's 100 plus 200 plus 30%. Ultimately, that doesn't add up to a lot. It's not 100% times 30%. So yeah, it's additive, not multiplicative. I just wanted to clarify that. Otherwise, people would be like level 70 or something by now, which at this point, they should raise the cap past... Well, I mean, there is no level cap. The soft cap is 66 before the grind gets real. So anyway, doing the Pit of the Undying every day to get materials and cron stones is always a good thing. And so number 9 that I wanted to talk about was doing the Magnus quest. This is going to be important for everyone to do. And you talk to the Black Spirit first and foremost, and then the Black Spirit will be like, here, this is the Magnus, do a quest line. Admittedly, the Magnus is something that takes a while. Let me see if I can find the where is it? Yeah, the Abyss one. It's a 117 quest line. That may sound like a lot, but ultimately you could do it in a day, and it's not that bad. It's fun the first time, maybe not the second, third time, but you don't even need to do it the second time. But either way, essentially what it does is it unlocks this well, and the Abyssal Well is basically a teleport system. You could teleport from well to well in all the different regions. It does save a lot of time, and people have tested it over the years of being like, is it actually faster to get from point A to B using the well versus a very high tier horse? Yes, the answer is you can. So yeah, that's something worth unlocking. Plus you get a free pen armor. So it's a pen armor box, and then it's like a piece of gear that's pen, not the Fallen God, but like the base boss gear boxes. So that's definitely something worth doing as a newer player, just because it does save you a bunch of hours worth of silver, and it helps you get it. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was getting your free pen Blackstar. By that, you just have to do a little bit of the story, and I think get to level like 60, 61 or something. And then the thing will be in your Y tab. So like when you hit your Y button, whatever opens the information right here. I don't know what it is on console. Does console even have it? I have no idea. But essentially it'll open up and it'll be like, here's your pen Blackstar. Pick the one you want. So pen back Blackstar. We looked at that a little bit earlier before. You could choose between main and sub weapon. I don't know if you can take the sub weapon, just main and awakening. I don't remember actually, but if you can, that's also an option. I think you can, but there's nothing to upgrade with it later just yet. So essentially, if you get a pen, it's like 100 billion. That's like a lot of hours saved. It's definitely something worth doing, and it's a permanent thing. So like, there's no rush to get it, but it is a huge upgrade in terms of DPS boost and everything. So I think it is worth doing like as a higher priority than, like questing and everything, but you have to do it eventually. So yeah, if you were to watch my video last year, we had a whole lot of different tips to give you guys. But nowadays, these are some of the things I would recommend as a newer player to get into the game, and things you can use to help optimize yourself and get caught up to veteran players as fast as possible. But with that said, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you are still new and you need help with this game, feel free to drop a question in the comments, or you could join the Discord. In my Discord, I have a lot of guides, and I have a channel for like all my updated guides and everything. So whether you like to be social and talk to people or not, we have channels for that. If you need help with gear, we have a gear help channel and everything, and I'll point you in the right direction for whatever you need. I've been playing this game for at least, when did this come out? 2016? Yeah, so since then. And then, yeah, so happy to help all of you guys with the knowledge I have of this game, point you in the right direction. And even if you are one of those people that don't like to talk to anyone else, I have a channel for my guides and I keep updated. So you can just watch the video. You don't even have to talk to anyone. Very cool. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.